Bernie or bust movement can be loosely defined as those in the 2016 presidential election who have no plans to vote for Hillary Clinton, even if she wins the Democratic nomination. There are those within the movement who are willing to vote for Jill Stein, while others in the movement are only writing in Bernie if he's not on the ballot. The movement is not about giving up on the ideas that Bernie campaigned on, and above all else is not about staying at home when it comes time to vote in the general election. Perhaps the most infuriating thing to hear is that casting a protest vote is a vote for Trump. It is not. Not voting for the first or second place candidate only means that both of those options are not acceptable. If those in power only offer a giant douche and a turd sandwich as options, at some point, enough people on both sides will look for viable alternatives. The only question is, how bad does it have to get before you are willing to vote for a third party? Before answering, consider one of the most important threats we face. Assuming you believe in the scientific method and the overwhelming evidence of climate change has the possibility of affecting nearly every person on this planet adversely. There are other societal problems as well. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to talk about how bad war actually is. In my 42 years of living, I haven't seen a single war or military conflict that justified the loss of innocent life, injuries to those fighting, damage to friends and family, and the financial burden mostly paid for via inflation. In addition to climate change, war, healthcare, there are obviously a world of other issues that are must-haves in a society that we would be okay with leaving for the next generation. Essentially, we need to be human-focused, and our well-being must always be a top priority. How does one decide which issues to work on first? It comes down to one simple sentence. What's the cost of not doing it? And you have to consider everything in this cost. Lives lost, families affected, societal stability, and of course, how much money? And tragically, there is one issue, while the most expensive, has the most dire of consequences.
Senator Sanders, greatest national
The scientific community is telling us if we do not address the global crisis of climate change, transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to sustainable energy, the planet that we're going to be leaving our kids and our grandchildren may well not be habitable.
If climate change is not addressed, our species will effectively go extinct. There will be no breathable air and no atmosphere. We might survive in a dome, under the surface, or on Mars, but this seems like a risky solution that effectively renders our species extinct in the long run. This is our biggest challenge, and the problem with the most dire outcome. A 2014 Princeton study essentially showed that the desires of the voters had no effect on whether or not a bill becomes a law. The only thing that had a major influence? Money. So let's put it all together. Our biggest threat is climate change, which cannot be addressed without getting money out of politics, and neither major party is willing to come out against money in politics, with the exception of Bernie Sanders. So now comes the question, what do you do? While it is assumed that Hillary would be better than Trump in many ways, the most important issue, money in politics, is not addressed by either candidate. Even in the face of large numbers of young progressives unwilling to vote for Hillary, the Democratic Party has refused to budge or even listen to their concerns. Some people, like Thom Hartmann, advocate taking over the party from within. This is great for those who are the types of people that can run for office. For everyone else, the only option that will get the Democratic Party attention is to not vote for them. They don't need your campaign donations, but they do need your vote. And it is for this reason that I encourage everyone to only vote for candidates supported solely by the people, not by big money.